Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Sthapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Sthapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha. Asato ma sadgamaya tapaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate, who came to establish universal religion. Let us pray to him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. In today's gospel class, I have taken the subject, stories of wisdom. If you study gospel, every page has got some anecdotes, some incidents, some stories depicting most sublime wisdom. So we should read such texts with utmost attention and devotion. They are all very valuable and practical instructions for us to practice spirituality. So today's topic, stories of wisdom. Sri Ramakrishna has said one should have strong determination. Dridhata. It is very important in spiritual practices. If you have strong determination, it will bear the fruit definitely at the correct time. So Sri Ramakrishna, not to specify this point, said a story. At one time there was a drought in a certain part of the country. The farmers began to cut long channels to bring water to their fields. One farmer was stubbornly determined to bring the water to his field. He took a vow that he would not stop digging until the channel connected his field with the river. He set to work. The time came for his bath, and his wife sent their daughter to him with oil. "Father," said the girl, "it is already late. Rub your body with oil and take your bath." "Go away," thundered the farmer. "I have too much to do now. I can't talk to you. I can't even look at you." It was past midday, and the farmer was still at work in his field. He didn't even think of his bath. Then his wife came and said, "Well, my dear, why haven't you taken your bath? The food is getting cold. You overdo everything. We can finish the rest tomorrow or even today after dinner." The farmer was in a working mood. His mind was deviated to any other direction. So he scolded her furiously and ran at her, spade in hand, crying, "What? Have you no sense? There is no rain, the crops are dying. What will the children eat? You will all starve to death. I have taken a vow not to think of bath and food today. before I bring water to my field. The wife saw his state of mind and ran away in fear. Though the situation was very tense, the farmer was very calm in his work. His whole attention was on digging the channel. Through a whole day's back-breaking labor, finally the farmer managed by evening to connect his field with the river. Then he sat down and watched the water flowing into his field with a murmuring sound. His mind was filled with peace and joy. He went home, himself called his wife in a very tender voice and said to her very politely, "My honey, give me some oil and prepare me a smoke." With serene mind, he finished his bath and meal and then retired to bed, where he snored to his heart's content. The determination this farmer showed is an example of strong renunciation. Namby-pamby, half and half, half-hearted spiritual practices, incomplete renunciation, they are in no way helpful in the progress of spiritual life. So here it shows how the strong determination bore the fruit. He could bring the water from the river through the channel and made it flow into his field. Now there was another farmer. Sri Ramakrishna continued this story. There was another farmer who was also digging a channel to bring water to his field. After some time, his wife too came to the field and said to him, "What are you doing? It is very late. Come home. It is not necessary to overdo things." When the wife was shouting in high pitch, the farmer didn't protest much, but put aside his spade and said to his wife, "Well, I will go home since you ask me to." That man never succeeded in irrigating his field. This is a case of mild renunciation. As without strong determination the farmer cannot bring water to his field, so also without intense yearning a man cannot realize God. We yearn for so many things. We yearn for job, we yearn for looking into our family, we yearn for earning money, we yearn for making properties, we yearn for name and fame. Do we yearn for God with the same intensity? That's the question. The mind is everything. Sri Ramakrishna says, a man has his wife on one side and his daughter on the other. He shows his affection to them in different ways, but his mind is one and the same. Bondage is of the mind, and freedom is also of the mind. A man is free if he constantly thinks, "I am a free soul. How can I be bound? Whether I live in the world or in the forest, I am a child of God, the King of Kings. Who can bind me?" If bitten by a snake, a man may get rid of his venom of the snake by saying emphatically, "There is no poison in me." In the same way, by repeating with grit and determination, "I am not bound, I am free. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Muktaha Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham." One should be very strong in the statement and firmly believe that it is true, is untainted by any of the external things. He is absolutely free, ever free, immortal. One really becomes so, one really becomes free. One succeeds if one develops a strong spirit of renunciation. Give up at once with determination what you know to be unreal. Sri Ramakrishna says, once when I was seriously ill, I was taken to the physician Ganga Prasad Sen. He said to me, I shall give you a medicine, but you mustn't drink any water. You may take pomegranate's juice. Everyone wondered how I could live without water. But Sri Ramakrishna said, I was determined not to drink it. I said to myself, I am a Paramahams and not a goose. I shall drink only milk. One must have stern determination. Then alone spiritual practice possible. Show great devotion to your parents, but don't obey them if they stand in your way to God. You must gird your loins with great determination and say, this rogue of a father. See how strongly Sri Ramakrishna teaches. Once a tapasvi was performing austerities under an ambali tree to please the Lord. He thought if he could please the Lord, then he could have his darshan. He would earn his darshan. So the tapasvi lived on leaves and all day devotedly circumambulated the tree. Because of this continuous walking around the tree, there was a furrow, a hand deep. One day, Naradji was going to Vaikuntha. He saw the tapasvi and approached him. The tapasvi bowed down to him and said, Naradji, as you are going to Vaikuntha, ask the Lord on my behalf when he will grant darshan to me, as I have been performing austerities for many years, eating only leaves. Naradji went to Vaikuntha and by asked the Lord, O Lord, a tapasvi is performing austerities under an ambali tree for you to grace him with your darshan. When will you grace him? The Lord said, tell him that for my darshan he will still have to perform austerities for as many years as there are leaves on the ambali tree. Who would not give up on hearing this? Naradji felt weak in the legs. He felt defeated. He thought, what shall I say to the tapasvi? He is sure to lose determination. Naradji left Vaikuntha and was making his way back across the sky. The tapasvi saw him and so called him. Hearing that Naradji had met the Lord, the tapasvi was overjoyed. He asked, what is God's message for me? Naradji replied sadly, I can't tell you what the Lord has said. And if I do tell you, you will lose courage and give up your austerities. The tapasvi replied, no matter what the Lord has said, at least I will hear his divine words. So tell me, what did he say? Even then Naradji was doubtful. Shall I tell him? He wondered. The tapasvi again urged him, please tell me. So Naradji said, O tapasvi, the divine Lord said, even though you have performed austerities for many years, you will still have to perform austerities for as many years as there are leaves on the ambali tree. Only then will he grace you with darshan. The tapasvi was overjoyed. He began to sing and dance. How lucky I am. God has sent me a divine message. Now it is certain that in the future God will grace me with his darshan. The extra years will pass in no time. Seeing the tapasvi's love and courage and his strong determination to continue the austerities, the Divine Lord instantly appeared before the tapasvi, wearing a peacock crown, and blessed him. The tapasvi's happiness knew no bounds. He was in ecstasy. Naradji asked God, "O Lord, you told me that you would grace him with darshan only after he had performed many more years of austerities." The Divine Lord explained, "Look at his devotion and determination. He didn't lose courage despite the many extra years. To such a person I have to give darshan." If the tapasvi had lost faith, he would have lost hope. Then would he have had the Lord's darshan? Of course not. Never. Always have faith in the words of the great. A determined person reaches his goals early in daily life, and for salvation, courage is required. Then only does God help us. Very nice teachings are there through these most fascinating, interesting stories. There lived a wealthy Seth, but he was a screwed, mean and miserly. He was so miserly, he never spent $1, never donated a cent, and always wore worn shoes and tattered clothes. One day, this Sethji fell seriously ill and he became bedridden. During his whole life, it was said, he had only one friend. Who was he? His personal tailor. But unfortunately, that tailor had died a few months earlier. Everyone knew the Seth's days were numbered. One by one, his family and neighbors came to their formal respects, came to pay their formal respects. Then finally, the tailor's son came to see Sethji. Tailor's son. Then the Seth said to him, "My boy, it seems I will not last long here. My moment to rise to heaven has come." See the words. My moment to rise to heaven has come. The young boy, though he was only 15 years old, was very wise. He knew of the Seth's craving for wealth and miserliness. He replied, "Sethji, my father is already in heaven. He often told me that he wished to sew rich garments for the Lord, but he forgot to take his needle with him. Will you please take this needle with you and give it to him?" "Oh, all right. I'll be happy to do that." He agreed. The Sethji was happy to do anything as long as it did not involve any giving. He took the needle from the boy and the boy left the place. Alone in his bed, he began wondering, where shall I place the needle? Pin it in my shirt? No, that won't do. All my clothes will burn away in my funeral pyre. In my mouth? Yes, I will place the needle in the bulge of my cheek. Then again he had second thoughts. But my whole body will be burnt to ashes. How am I to carry this small needle to heaven? The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. Finally, he called for the tailor's boy and said, "My dear boy, take your needle back. I won't be able to take it to heaven." But the boy looked amused. "If you are going to carry all your millions of dollars to heaven, then why can't you carry one little needle?" The Seth's inner eyes were opened. He realized that none of his wealth or property would accompany him after death. He prayed to God to forgive him for all his past wickedness and promised to profusely donate. He promised to profusely donate his wealth in charity should he survive the illness. Because of his sincere prayer and devotion, of his sincere intention, God cured him of his disease. And the Sethji kept up his word. He built a grand temple, fed thousands of people, devotees, and comforted the less fortunate people. Remember that only wealth which is spent in the service of God, in the service of the holy people and the needy, is worthwhile. Our good deeds alone accompany us after death, and nothing else will join us. Another story is there, taken from Bhagavad. A nice incident. Ambarish and Durvas Muni. Ambarish was a great king, highly devoted, highly principled, and pure-hearted. A characteristic of tamas is pride. Pride and delusion come from tamas. It is said in the Puranas, Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel, that Ravan had an excess of rajas, Kumbhakarn excess of tamas, and Vibhishan of sattva. That's why Vibhishan was able to receive the grace of Rama. Another characteristic of tamas is anger. Through anger, one loses one's wits and cannot distinguish between right and wrong. In a fit of anger, Hanuman set fire to Lanka. Without thinking for a moment, the fire might also burn down the hut where Sita lived. Still, another feature of tamas is lust. Girendra Ghosh of Paturia Ghat remarked, "Since you cannot get rid of your passions, your lust, your anger, and so on, give them a new direction. Instead of desiring worldly pleasures, desire God. Have union with God. Instead of craving for the union with opposite sex. If you cannot get rid of anger, then change its direction. Assume the tamasic attitude of bhakti and say, what? I have repeated the hallowed name of Durga, and shall I not be liberated? How can I be a sinner anymore? How can I be bound anymore? If you can't get rid of temptation, direct it towards God. Be infatuated with God's beauty. If you can't get rid of pride, then be proud to say that you are the servant of God, you are the child of God. Thus turn the 6 passions towards God." King Ambarish was an Atmanivedi. That means a humble servant of the Lord. He had totally surrendered himself to God and considered himself the most humble servant of Lord Vishnu. Both Ambarish and his queen were performing great austerities. For 12 months, they had fasted on every Ekadashi, not even drinking water. It's called Nirjala Upavas. Their fast would end on Kartik Shuddha, 12th day. On the morning of the 12th, say Durvasa and 100 of his disciples arrived at King Ambarish's palace. Ambarish was overjoyed. He fell at their feet and welcomed them. He requested them, "O sage, today my Ekadashi fast ends, and on this day you have also graced my palace. Indeed, I am very fortunate. Please dine here today." Durvasa replied, "We will all first go to the river for a bath and then return." Durvasa and his disciples went to the river. Durvasa and his disciples bathed for a long time. But the sacred time for ending the fast was near. Then the Brahmins of the king said to him, advised him, "O king, the Muhurtam is passing, the auspicious time. It is best you eat and so end the fast. It is very important. At the auspicious moment, you have to eat something. That is the rule of Vrat." Ambarish king said, "Well, I shall eat when Durvasa returns." The Brahmins replied, "Sir, it is getting late. Only a few moments are left now. If you eat afterwards, you will not receive the fruits of your fast. Your Vrat will be spoiled." Ambarish was in dilemma. But then the Brahmins found an easy answer. They told the king, "O king, there is a solution for this. Eat a sanctified tulsi leaf. In this way, it can be said you have ended your fast, and yet it can also be said that you have not eaten a meal." On the Brahmin's advice, Ambarish placed a tulsi leaf in his mouth. Just then Durvasa and his disciples arrived. They discovered that Ambarish had completed his fast in their absence. Durvasa never needs to search for anger. It is always with him as his constant companion. He was quick to show his temper. He shouted, "Ambarish, you are known as a great devotee, yet you have no idea of how to treat our guests. Why did you eat alone without us?" Ambarish did not get upset. In all politeness, he touched Durvasa's feet. He apologized and said, "O Mahatma, only to safeguard the Muhurtam, the auspicious time, I have just placed a leaf of tulsi in my mouth. The banquet is ready. Please come, let us dine together." But would Durvasa listen? No. He was the very incarnation of anger. Immediately Ambarish was cursed by the Durvasa. He said, in a very angry mood, he told the king, "You shall have to suffer the fruits of insulting me." Saying this, he plucked a hair from his head and transformed it into a demoness, a Rakshasi. He commanded her to beat Ambarish. Now Ambarish was truly a great devotee of the Lord. He stood with hands joined in humility. Lord Vishnu knew the most pure-hearted Ambarish. So at the right time he came to his rescue. What Lord Vishnu did was he placed his special weapon, the Sudarshan Chakra, in Ambarish's protection. So the Sudarshan Chakra began to spin. Its bright light burnt the Rakshasi to ashes. It then moved towards Durvasa to burn him as well. Durvasa saw this. He became frightened. And he began to shout, Trahi, Trahi. Clenched his fists and began to run for his dear life. But the chakra would not leave. It chased him everywhere, wherever he went. Screaming, Pahimam, Pahimam. Protect me, protect me. Durvasa went to Lord Shiva and asked that he be saved from the Sudarshan Chakra. Lord Shiva replied, well, Maharshi, I can't turn the chakra back. It belongs to Lord Vishnu. So, the best solution is to go to him. Go and request Vishnu. For a whole year, Durvasa ran. He finally went to Lord Vishnu, crying, Pahimam, please protect me. Pahimam, protect me, save me. He begged. Continuously he was begging. Then Lord Vishnu said, well, once my chakra has been thrown out at a person, it never returns without killing him. I have no solution. Durvasa became depressed and disheartened. Then Lord Vishnu said to him, no good will be done by weeping. But yes, there is one way of saving yourself. Immediately Durvasa said, please tell me quickly. Lord Vishnu said, will you be able to do it? Oh Lord, if my life can be saved, anything and everything will be done. He had become humble by that time. God explained to Durvasa, now you have insulted my devotee Ambarish. Go to him in a humble way. Fall at his feet. If he forgives you, then the chakra will return to me. In a time of great need, we may even address a donkey as father. To live, Durvasa had no other option. And so after a year of battering, Durvasa went to Ambarish. From the moment Durvasa had run away, with the chakra chasing him, King Ambarish had remained standing at the place where he had been insulted. He had not eaten or drunk anything. Pahimam, Pahimam, protect me, save me, protect me, cried Durvasa. He immediately came and fell at the King Ambarish's feet. Ambarish pulled his feet away and raised Durvasa. Then he said, O King of sages, your falling at my feet is not right. Durvasa replied, Ambarish, you have proved yourself thoroughly that you are a true devotee of the Lord. I have insulted you. Please forgive me. Save me from this Sudarshan Chakra. King Ambarish prayed to the Sudarshan Chakra and said, if the love and respect I have for Durvasa at this moment are the same as they were when he first came to my palace, then, O Sudarshan Chakra, please return to the Lord. The Sudarshan Chakra returned to Lord Vishnu at once. Durvasa was tremendously relieved. Then both he and Ambarish together went to the banquet hall. The Lord cannot tolerate an insult thrown upon a great devotee of his. So never take fault with any devotee. Being humble before such a devotee pleases the Lord. So never hurt a devotee. If you hurt a devotee, you are hurting God Himself. So, lots of wisdom are embedded in the stories said by Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel. And they're all very impressive. And so let us dwell upon the teachings and practice them in our spiritual life. Then we are sure to receive God's grace. Sri Ramakrishna smilingly said to Shambasu, all your teeth are gone. Why should you bother so much about Durga Puja? All laugh. A man used to celebrate the worship of Durga with the sacrifice of goats and with other ceremonies. He continued the worship many years and then stopped it. A friend asked him, why don't you perform the Durga Puja anymore? Brother, replied the man, my teeth are all gone. I have lost the power to chew goat meat. All laugh. Shyam said, oh, how sweet these words are. Master said smilingly, this world is a mixture of sand and sugar. Like the ant, one should discard the sand and eat the sugar. He who can eat the sugar is clever indeed. Build a quiet place for thinking of God, a place for your meditation. Have it ready. I shall visit it. Shyam said, sir, is there such a thing as incarnation, reincarnation? Shall we be born again? Master said, ask God about it. Pray to Him sincerely. He will tell you everything. Speak to Jadu Malik and he himself will tell you how many houses he has and how many government bonds. It is not right to try to know these things at the beginning. First of all, realize God. Then He Himself will let you know whatever you desire. Shyam said, sir, how much wrong, how many sinful things a man does in this world. Can he ever realize God? Master said, if a man practices spiritual discipline before his death, and if he gives up his body praying to God and meditating on Him, when will sin touch him? It is no doubt the elephant's nature to smear his body with dust and mud, even after his bath, but he cannot do so if the mahout takes him into the stable immediately after his bath. In spite of his serious illness, the Master keenly felt the sorrow and suffering of men. Day and night he thought about their welfare. The devotees wondered at his compassion. The assurance of Sri Ramakrishna that no sin can touch a man if he gives up his body while praying to God was deeply impressed on their minds. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. Sri Ramakrishna was talking with M in his room. No one else was present. M was going to Dr. Sarkar to report his condition and bring him to examine the Master. Master said to M smilingly, Purna came this morning. He has such a nice nature. Manindra has an element of Prakriti, of womanliness. He has read the life of Chaitanya and understood the attitude of the gopis. He has also realized that God is Purush and man is Prakriti, and that man should worship God as his handmaid. How remarkable! Yam said, it is true, sir. Purna was then 15 or 16 years old. Sri Ramakrishna always longed to see him, but his relatives did not allow him to visit the Master. One night before his illness, Sri Ramakrishna had been so eager to see Purna that he had suddenly left Dakshineshwar and arrived at Yam's house in Calcutta. Yam had brought Purna from his home to see Sri Ramakrishna. The Master had given the boy many instructions about prayer, and had afterwards returned to Dakshineshwaram. Manindra was about the same age as Purna. The devotees addressed him as Koka, that means baby. He used to dance in ecstasy when he heard the chanting of God's name. About 10:30, M arrived at Dr. Sarkar's house. He went up to the second floor and sat in a chair on the porch adjacent to the drawing room. In front of Dr. Sarkar was a glass bowl in which some goldfish were kept. Now and then Dr. Sarkar threw some cardamom shells into the bowl. Again he threw pellets of flour to the sparrows. M watched him. Let us stop here. Any questions? Kantaswami? Which story? Durvas. Ambarish Durvas, it comes in Bhagavad. That one is there. No, one cannot carry the needle into the... Yeah, that's also, it is not in the gospel. When the man being in Maya, he cannot get himself free from bondage. So one has to be freed from clutches of Maya. And Chidananda has said in many places that death snatches away everything. You can't carry anything of yourself. Even a hair you cannot carry. So the soul leaves the body and the whole body is burnt down. So why should people crave for all making properties and doing all sorts of crimes? You have to hoard the things. So that is the power of Maya. As long as people are deluded by Maya, one cannot be free from suffering. Virtue alone. That's true. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Our name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, down deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bath for very selves. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth retinue. The playthings of lust are the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. How I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, but thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be freed from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, May all beings ever attain what is good. May the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time. May the earth be blessed with crops. May all countries be freed from calamity. May holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.